Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hadassah, and today we're going to be talking about the Sony Zv-1F. I have had this camera for about a month now. Slight disclaimer here, I'm just a regular person who decided to get this camera because I wanted something separate from my phone to film on, so let's just get right into the video. Okay, starting off with number one, it is very compact. This camera fits directly in the palm of my hands, and if that's something you're looking to consider when you're getting a camera, I think that's a very important feature to have because bulky cameras can be hard to put in your bag if you're on the go and you want to film out. And not to mention, I don't know about you, but I get shy if I'm taking out a camera out in public, so I would prefer if it's a smaller one. That was, again, just my preference when I was searching for a camera on the market, so that's something that I really like about this camera. Another thing that I really like is you have a flip out screen to see exactly what you're filming. That is something that is just super beneficial if you're in the content creation world, because there are moments where you're recording and you don't really see whether or not something is not in autofocus, but this camera specifically allows you to see that with the flip out screen. And not only that, but you can twist it to your liking, so wherever you're standing or filming from, you can see exactly what it is you're recording. The audio quality is just amazing. When I tell you that you can really be talking low and it will still make it sound like you're speaking at a normal volume. I'm going to be whispering right about now just to see if I'm correct about this. But looking back at it, it's true. It's really high in terms of picking up audio all around. And honestly, I was surprised that not a lot of people talked about the audio quality when they were reviewing this camera, so definitely is a plus for me, at least, just because I'm not a loud talker, so I really enjoyed that about it. Another feature that I want to talk about is the quality of this camera. I'm currently filming on the Sony Zv-1 right now. My iPhone is over here, but I'm going to do a comparison of the Sony Zv-1 versus the iPhone 15, which is what I have. I don't know about you, but I honestly prefer the way digital cameras look over iPhone quality, especially for filming videos and just posting on YouTube in general. I just like the way that it has like this soft focus. It's not really like harsh in terms of clarity. The Canon G7X is retailing for about like $750 or so, and it can go up to $1,000 if you're getting like the entire kit. But for the Sony Zv-1, you get the entire kit for about $500, and if you get a good deal on it, sometimes it can get as low as $400 or $300, so that's another thing to consider when you're getting this camera. Another cool feature about this camera is that the flip out screen is touchscreen, so if that's something that you are considering because of that, then great. But if that's something that's not really a factor that will make you buy this camera, then you can go ahead and skip off to the next part. Honestly, I don't really find myself using the touchscreen feature that often. I prefer using the buttons just because if I'm going to use my touchscreen, I'm going to use my phone, and sometimes because the screen is so small, your fingers might press on two things or you might not really pick up on exactly what you want to click on, so I just, avoid it. But it's there if that's something that you want to use. The really cool thing about this camera is that it has a product focus button that is accessible on the flip out screen. So if you're someone who likes to show products in your videos, then it's convenient. I honestly find it convenient because if you're showing products like this, for example, then it's really cool to use, versus some cameras, it takes a while to focus on the product that you're showing, and then the autofocus back on you also takes some time. But as you can see what I just did here, the autofocus is also really good, and it's quick to pick up on the person or object that you're showing. So that's something that I actually really liked and made me consider buying this camera. Now, this one isn't something that is a direct feature in terms of filming on the camera, but it is something to consider because of the overall layout of the camera, and that is the fact that the tripod plug-in is on the opposite side of the battery placement. So that's important, especially if you're filming and your battery dies. You can easily change the battery without taking out the tripod and then placing the battery. That can be quite annoying and inconvenient in terms of filming, so that's also another really fun fact, I guess, about the camera that I personally love. Let's talk about this really cool feature. So there is a background defocus button that's at the top right hand corner of the camera, where you can basically change the focus to be either directly on you and blur out the background, or you can have the background be shown. So let's try that feature now. This is the background defocus mode. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's blurring a little bit of the background, but you can still kind of see exactly what is in the background. Now this is the feature turned off, so this is just a regular filming where you can see exactly everything that's in the background. So that is something that's really cool, and I found interesting, because if you're someone who has like a messy background going on and you wanted to just focus exactly on you, you can have that option. It's something to consider when you are filming. Now let's go on to the cons about this camera, which isn't much. I think there's about 4 things that I don't really like, but it wasn't enough to make me not buy this camera, so let's talk about it. First and foremost, the zoom on this camera isn't the best. It only goes up to about 1.5x in terms of zoom, so I'll be showing you guys what exactly I mean by that, and compared to the iPhone 15 that goes up to 6x. And I'm just talking about recording in 4K, so that only goes up to 1.5 again, like I said. But if you're taking pictures, it can go up to 2x, so that's something that is a con for some people. So I would definitely note that if you're someone who likes to zoom in on shots to really get the full exact detail, that might be limiting for you. So I would consider that, especially if that's something that you really care about. Another thing that kind of sucks about this camera is that the battery life is, let's just say the battery life needs some help. So I am recording this video right now in 4K, and I have had to change it only once, which isn't bad, but I think it only lasts about an hour or an hour and a half if you're filming 4K. Typically you'll see with this camera, if you're buying a battery, they like to sell it in 3 sets, that I've noticed at least. But again, that's just because the battery life isn't the best compared to other cameras, so that's something to consider as well. I don't necessarily have a deep problem with it because I typically film on the shorter side of videos. I don't really shoot videos past 30 minutes, so I don't really have a problem with that. But if you are someone who wants to film like longer content, that might be annoying, so you always have to bring extra batteries with you if you're on the go. Another thing to note about this camera is that the stabilization isn't the best. It does have the feature already built in within the camera, but compared to other digital cameras where it's more stable, I wouldn't consider this like the best in the market for that. The iPhone typically does a better job at stabilizing more than this camera does. That's something that can be quite annoying, but that wasn't something that was necessarily making me not want to buy this camera, because they did say that it was pretty okay at doing the job, which it is. But again, if you're someone who likes to be on the go and record videos, that might be a problem, because your videos might not be as stable looking compared to other creators who have a stronger stabilization feature in their camera. Lastly is that this camera has no built-in flash, so if you're someone who wants to use it primarily for Instagram photos or TikTok, whatever, that might be an issue, but you can always get an adapter, which is on the top part of the camera. There's a space there where you can adapt a mic or a flash, so it's not necessarily the end-all be-all. If you do want to use it for photography, you can always adapt the flash there. But however, if you're someone who likes to take photography at night, or you like recording at night, then this won't be the best camera for you because it doesn't have like a built-in flash. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you were able to take away some things about the Sony Zv-1F camera. These were just some of the things that I loved about it, and some cons that were definitely, I know, considerable for some other people. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.